Hi there, I'm Shannon Vandermark, and this is the Happily Ever After Without Children podcast. You can find me on Instagram if you search Happily Ever After Podcast. You can also find me on Facebook, the Happily Ever After Without Children podcast page. That's also where you can request access to the super secret Facebook group under the same name. You can also send me an old-fashioned email at reachhappilyeverafter@gmail.com. Doesn't matter about capitals or anything like that. Just reachhappilyeverafter@gmail.com. Please get in touch if you have a story to tell. This podcast is for anyone who doesn't have children and for anyone who knows anyone who doesn't have children. I am mostly drawn to the stories of those who have wanted children but who have ended up involuntarily childless. I will explore the journey from feeling that infertility is a punishment to realizing that life without children is actually a gift, a pretty awesome gift. I'll have candid conversations with women and men who have found themselves involuntarily childless, and we will explore the complex grieving process of letting go of what is oftentimes just an intangible idea. There's hope, there are expectations, dreams. Good news is that sometimes you get lost on your way to a dream and find yourself another one, a better one. I know it's been said before, it's not brand new, but it's true. It's possible. It does happen. It's happened for tons and tons of people. I myself have struggled with infertility as well as miscarriages for 6 years. My husband Robin and I have spent thousands of pounds on unsuccessful fertility treatments. We've looked into adoption, we've looked at IVF, surrogacy, egg donors, pretty much everything else in between. Spoiler alert, I have no children. Well, we have no children. We have not ended up with a baby at the end. But as the title of this podcast suggests, I am here to talk about the happily ever after that does exist at the end of the journey. It's not all rainbows and unicorns and glitter along the way, I'll be honest. The journey is kind of more like a crooked, gnarly tree. Like the scary forest in Wizard of Oz. But not all the time. It's definitely just not a straight line, but it is worth it. There is seriously a pot of gold at the end. Infertility is not a punishment, but sometimes it does totally feel like one. But then at once, life can become so freaking amazing. Once you stop punishing yourself and start living, you realize how much time you have to actually do really fun stuff and get consistent sleep and exercise and not lie in bed worrying about supporting little ones. You can take more risks. Have more of an adventure, I'd argue. Well, a different one. But maybe a better one. This podcast is not just for those who have struggled to conceive. It is also for those who have woken up one day and realized it's just a little bit too late. It is also for those triumphant in their decisions to never have children in the first place, but kind of find themselves struggling to find their place in the world. It's also for friends and family members who might want to understand a little bit better what our challenges can be living without children. Here's a sample of what you'll hear on the Happily Ever After Without Children podcast.
Well, I'm going to talk about people that might be offended by what I say. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I suppose I'm also slightly embarrassed about my life too, really. I don't think we have any control over our lives. I think what happens to us, and we get on with it or don't get on with it. And we can plan things, but if it doesn't work out, it causes the most amazing disappointment, and disappointment really is a killer.
I remember one friend of mine in Belgium had just had a baby, and I visited her, and she was so sweet, and I just had another miscarriage, and she said, "I'm just going to go and do some shopping. Can you look after him?" And sorry. She knew I needed time with her baby and be there on my own with the baby, and I was. It was good.
I'm actually up and out of my bed on Mother's Day. This is the first time in years. to just put on makeup, do my hair and feel just really good about myself and confident, and to step out of that house. So I'm so proud and thankful that I've got to this stage, because last year was a totally different story for me.
I'll be doing stories focusing on such themes as holidays without children, dealing with a friend telling you she's pregnant, the money-making business of hope, and that's a big one, the point of views of a husband, a mom, a sister, a friend, and even recommending cathartic books, films, and music for when you really want to get your cry on. I will be putting out one episode every month to begin with, but I might increase our frequency. Watch the space. And thank you for listening. Keep it up.